Hi, Ingrid. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
We got
That's
no
good.
volume.
Hey, Em.
Hi.
Hi, Tina.
Why can't I see you?
Not sure. I'm invisible today.
I don't know because I've got Zoom.
Yep. No, that's all right. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. Alrighty, let's get started. Welcome. Great to have so many of you on the call this afternoon. If you are at home, you're more than welcome to have your lunch or a cup of tea beside you. And there's a few of you driving, so it's all happening today.
I'm just going to mute myself. I'm actually eating, so yes, I'm just so you don't hear me chewing.
Okay, cool. No, that's all right. All good, because I know it's lunchtime, so it's all good. All right, so welcome to the 14-day social media challenge. This is call number 2. So on the 1st of June is when we kickstarted and we had our onboarding call. So those of you that were on the onboarding call, you probably had your questions answered live. Today's segment is a little bit different. So every single one of you, I would assume, has received an email from me, and whether you responded or not, it kind of matters, but then it doesn't kind of matter as well, because essentially today's call is very much about seeing where you're at after you read the email. So if you responded and you gave me an outline of your goals that you want to achieve by the 31st of December, great. I would have replied to you with sort of a breakdown format where I would have said 3 months, consider this, 6 months, consider this. The reason I break it down into 3-month goals, purely from my experience, is it's easier to track than you saying you want to achieve something in 6 months and you don't kind of have a strategic plan to follow. So hence the reason why I would have responded the way I did. Now let's go around I was going to say around the table, but we're not sitting around a table. But anyway, let's go one by one across everyone that's on the live call. I just want to check in. I know Ingrid's driving, so I'll leave Ingrid and Em to the last because I know Em's eating. But if you're ready to go, Tina or Davika, let's switch to one of you if you want to unmute yourself, and let's check in. So maybe we might just start. I can't see everybody on the screen. Let me just get that. Hi, Angela. Great to have you on the call as well. Let's start with Tina. You're driving as well. Okay. All right. That's cool. Davika, if you want to run us through, how have you been tracking over the last 7 days? Davika,
hello,
are you there?
ladies. Yeah, I'm here. Hello.
Hello.
Can everybody hear me?
Yes, all good. So you would have received the copy of the recording via email because you were not on the live call, but I just want to check in with you. I know you were at the 2-day workshop about a fortnight ago, but just want to check in with your social media strategy. Have you thought a little bit more around how you're going to be highlighting the Goddess Nights? How are you going to really position the message now that you do have the author profile that you can add to your status as well? So how are you tracking? What can I support you with today?
Okay. So last night I did a half-an-hour presentation at the Women Creating Magic with Kim and Mel Joy.
Yep.
And that went really, really well. And I'm very proud of myself that I could deliver a very high content presentation. And
Okay.
I did promote my anthology. And of course, that book is not available till probably end of June, early July, or probably the end of July.
Yep.
But yes, I've promoted my Goddess Night, and it's just the timing's not right for the ladies who really showed interest.
Okay.
I also offered one complimentary ticket to the Goddess Night, which is on Friday the 23rd of June. So it's all out there that some of the ladies actually sharing and talking about the Goddess Night.
Yep.
So got a lot of feedback. Now, talking about social media, as I said, I want to really now redo my Facebook private group.
Yeah.
And I probably make that public now because it's not about, intimate relationship or the relationship struggles or problems.
Yep.
Where women probably feel unsafe to discuss. So it's very much a different concept now. So I'm going to make that a public group.
Okay.
Still wondering what to call it. So I put that out there on Magnificent Woman page, and I got a couple of feedback that was good.
Yep.
Because now I want to really push this, because I don't think I'm very clear now where and how I want to really take my message across, because the chapter that I wrote really ties in what my Goddess Night is about. And I now want to really create my Facebook to incorporate that so that it's visible, it's all in alignment.
Yep.
Now, offline is my meetup, which I really want to also tie all that with the meetup. So again, I'm thinking what would be the best title for that. So a bit of brainstorming there, but that's not the social media stuff. That's offline.
Okay, that's fine. So what I'll do is, because I've just taken notes, for those of you that are on the call and can see me, I've got actually a notepad. So every time I look down, I'm actually taking notes, even if you can't see that. So Devika, I know you've got the Meetup platform. I think you need to tie in the Meetup with the Facebook, so they kind of bounce off each other. And definitely your Facebook group needs to become public, so anyone can request to join, and they can kind of get a feel of what the group is about. Now, you mentioned what you want to call the group. I think the group on Facebook needs to really represent the goddess branding that you're trying to recreate. So I think you really need to dig deep and go, if this is what the chapter says, if this is what the concept behind all my workshops and coaching is around the goddess, then I think the group, I would suggest to you that the group has the name goddess tied into the name, just so it's consistent, and from an outsider's perspective that has no contact with you, when they look you up across social media, it's all consistent. Okay, so when she's networking, she says the goddess, your relationship goddess. When she's on Facebook, that's what she's talking about. And when you look at your Meetup platform, it's consistent as well, so that there's no disconnect, because essentially people are buying you. Even though you've got a name, they are buying you. So they're kind of finding that alignment between Devika and the relationship goddess. So you kind of want to keep that across all platforms. But I will go through the rest, I will go through more strategies via email for you and some templates this week. So you'll get that later tomorrow. Now we're just going to go across to Kushdil, because I've got you next on the list, Kushdil. So great to have you on the call today. If you want to unmute yourself and just check in with us and tell us how you have been tracking in the last 7 days. Did you want to unmute yourself, Kushdil? Okay, we might just swap to Tina. Tina, if you are there, are you able to unmute yourself? Oh, hang on. Is Kushdil? Oh yeah, Kushdil's on. Okay, so let's swap to Kushdil, sorry. Kushdil, if you want to just fill us in how you're tracking, that would be great.
Hi Samantha. The thing is working for me regarding tips radio.
Okay.
I just make a couple of more videos on sharing the healthy tips.
Yep.
Regarding eating healthy, how we can cook some stuff.
Okay.
And one more thing is like a keep consistency.
Yep.
On Facebook page.
Yep.
And whatever I would like to, I just post on my my business page and then share on my personal page.
Yep.
This is what I have done till yet in 7 days.
Yep.
And now I'm going to make a proper planning.
Yep.
On my website as well.
Yep.
All the video I am going to keep a track record on my website as well. So whomsoever come to see my website,
yep.
they can have access of the video.
Yep, definitely. Yeah, because that way, because when you sent me your link to your YouTube channel, you've got an extensive range of videos there, and you
Yeah.
know that is not being captured on your website, which is a shame, because you've got such practical tips. Like, because I watched a few and I was like, wow, you know, this is something that people can be listening and implementing straight away. So it's such a value add, as opposed to, you know, just reading content off a website. So for those of you that are kind of wondering why I'm suggesting this, is because if you have a website and it is full of content, it's time for you to really revisit your website, in terms of, if you're someone that is in the educational space and you are open to using video, I would encourage you to have 1 or 2 videos on your website that people can watch once they connect with you online. So what I'm saying is, you know, with Kushdil, she has a series of videos on her YouTube channel, but none of that was shared in her on her website. So what I suggested was, instead of going and doing, you know, 20-30 videos, let's look at how we can repurpose that and share that on her online presence already. And that's obviously going to save you time, but also save you money, because, you know, you've just got to interlink the two. So that's a time saver. Now, Kushdil, you mentioned keeping up consistency. What I would suggest to you, which I will have in an email anyway, is planning out how and when you're going to be posting on Facebook and LinkedIn, and really looking at if you can ideally post 3 times a week on Facebook,
Yeah.
and then 1 article or share something on LinkedIn as well. Now, I think from memory, I mentioned to you using MailChimp, which is free to export your data on database on there. I think if you were to implement MailChimp into your business, you would find that suddenly your clients, existing clients and previous clients, are going to keep remembering you a lot easier, and also keep coming back. So you're not constantly on that cycle of, I need new clients, I need new clients. You can keep servicing, you know, previous clients and have them rebooking. Because one of the biggest things that a lot of people make, this is across the board for all of you on the call and for everyone that will be listening to the call after this as well, is it is easier to put people on a retainer and keep nurturing them and transforming them, whether that's through education, whether that's through a program or coaching, rather than looking for new leads and going on a sales conversation, the sales process, and then converting them. That takes a lot more physical time for you mentally and emotionally. So if you can keep, you know, building the relationship stronger with your existing clients, that's ideally what you want to achieve as well, you know, from a business aspect. However, you know, you don't let the social media drop off. You keep that marketing going consistently, but you want to tie the two in together really, really well. And that's when I said to you, you know, really look at having MailChimp, because 1, it's free. You know, you probably need a few hours to play around with it and get it set up. But once you do, then you're ready to keep going. So, okay, perfect. So I
just want to ask one thing. Is like MailChimp, I can get email addresses there, or how I?
So with your, okay, so how it would work is, Kushdil, is with MailChimp, do you currently, what sort of details do you collect from when a client books in to see with you? Is it name, mobile number, email address? How does it work?
Yes.
Okay.
I have nearly 100 people in my email list.
Okay. Yep. So
and phone number is nearly 600 to 1,000.
Okay, so with your email addresses, that's what you would need to upload into MailChimp. So you would go into MailChimp, set up a campaign, and then you can call it either Clients 2016 or Clients 2017. I would recommend having 2. I mean, I personally do that on all my clients that are working with me ongoing. That's one of the things I do. The reason I say to people to segment them is because if somebody saw you last year and they have not come across this year, the way you want to talk to them is a little bit different to somebody that might have seen you 4 or 5 weeks ago. So I would see you with your email addresses. And again, this applies across the board to everyone on the call and listening. Segment your email addresses, segment your clients. You know, what did they come last year, or have they been coming this year and then dropped off? Or if they're still coming, then they need to be under a thing called, you know, current clients. kind of thing. So you want to segment them, because you can't talk to someone the way you're talking to someone that has not seen you in 6 or 8 months. It's absolutely crucial to find that the right context of how you're talking to them across, whether it's email or online. You want to keep that going. All right. So I'll give you some tips on that, Kushdil, with the email marketing. Just put that in there. Beautiful. All right. We will now swap to Tina. So Kushdil, if you want to mute yourself, and let's get Tina on the call. Let's see. Is Tina ready to go? Maybe not. Okay. Angela, are you ready to go? Oh, no, Tina's on. Okay, Tina's on.
Hello.
Hi, Tina.
Hi. Sorry. All right.
That's all right. How are you tracking?
I'm okay. This week has been a bit crazy, but I'm doing all right. So I have decided that I'm going to do a lot more video, because I'm quite comfortable in front of the video to promote all of my things. So I'm going to do more video content around events that I have coming up, more video content, just educational, more video content on mindset sort of stuff. And I'm thinking that I am going to move into more of the education space as opposed to just exercise.
Okay. Yep. All right. So you've got events, you've got education, you've got mindset. Are you just going to be recording videos and just sharing them, or are you thinking of giving it like a name or a series or something like that? Like you had Healthy Hacks that you were running with, a few months ago, where you ran it segmented across, quite a few months. Did you want to tie in like a theme to these videos, or they're just going to be content?
No, I'm thinking I would do a theme. I'm actually thinking of one called What the Fork Do I Eat?
Okay.
And I was actually going to run them as face-to-face events, but I'm actually thinking of doing it like an online webinar or subscription type thing to help build my list.
Yep.
So yeah, and that would be a series of content rich, nutritional sort of stuff, planning, I guess.
Yep. So what I would suggest you with that is, because that is such a strong, powerful name, you would really be able to leverage that. So what you could potentially do, you could take this 2 ways. You could do it, as you said, online, where you use like something like Zoom to have people on the call, or you can even use Skype and, do a bit of a presentation, run it for about, I don't know, maybe 30, 40 minutes or so. And then what you could do is you could have it like a reoccurring thing. So where maybe over 6 weeks you run 3 segments. So it's just 3 segments over 6 weeks. That way you can keep the campaign alive for 6 weeks. So even if people don't jump on in that first fortnight, then you've got the next fortnight and the fortnight after that. And, a bit like this, I suppose, a bit like this, but different, because this is, I'm checking in with each of you, but you could have it where the first call is around this, and the second call is around this, and the third call is around that, and you kind of create a landing page maybe, and also a series of videos to really highlight the 3 different segments for the 6 weeks, and then just run that on Facebook, where you could, how I spoke to you about custom audiences in your list for you to do Facebook ads. So you could consider that. And also, quite a few of you are in like-minded bitches drinking wine. So really, you should be leveraging that group, because whenever I post stuff on there, I don't do it regularly, but when I do, I generate quite a few leads. And I know quite a few of you are quite active in there. So I would not use it as like a marketing tactic, but use it more as going, hey guys, I'm thinking of, really doing this because I've noticed a gap in the marketplace. What do you think, kind of thing? And, this is what I did. So kind of go in with the plug of, this is what I'm thinking, to see how they approach that. And then in the lead up to it, you can share and, keep the consistency going, rather than going in with a marketing angle straight away into the group, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally makes sense. Yep. Totally does.
and then do that across any other groups that you might be on. I know you're on that, in that group as well. I don't know, I think Ingrid's in that group as well, I think. So my suggestion is, don't go in with the marketing, go in with either the celebration or go in with, here's what I've been thinking because I noticed this, and then just run with it. But obviously, again, and I said this on the call last week, whatever you do, you need to give a lead-in time. So there's nothing worse than you going, that is happening, going live next week, and then your lead-in time is a week. On social media, you need a bare minimum, at a bare minimum, a 3-week lead-in time. Okay, so you kind of need to plan it strategically so you kind of know where you're at when you're posting it, rather than going, I've come up with a brilliant idea, I'm going to run with it. And that's kind of where a lot of people fall back on, going, oh, it didn't work. It didn't work because the lead-in time wasn't enough, and people didn't know you. Like, I mean, I know you, so when you pop up on Like-Minded Bitches Drinking Wine, I'm like, oh, cool, I know you. But to somebody that doesn't know you, they kind of need to suss you out, and you need 7 to 12 touch points. And I think I spoke about this last time. For those of you that have been on my database, on my mailing list, you must have heard this probably, I don't know, about 3 times in the last 12 months, where people are only buying, opting in, and trusting and really connecting after they've had about 7 to 12 to 13 touch points. And when I say touch points, is where you're popping up with either information, videos, people are tagging you on social media. Okay, if they're on your mailing list and they're getting your email, then that's an added bonus, and that will help maybe convert them at the touch point 8 or 9. But if you are online and you're only trying to touch, make a difference and really capture their attention, you would need more than 7 touch points at a bare minimum, which means 1, 2, or 3 posts ain't going to cut it. And that is probably why most of you are probably feeling like, oh, this is taking a lot of work, because people are not engaging. And the reason they're not engaging is because they're not seeing you popping up enough frequently, regularly, and also kind of keeping the theme going. So if you are going to run with this video series, Tina, then kind of maybe have that and something else only running, rather than having 5 things running in that circle.
Yeah. Okay,
cool. So so across the board, to everyone on the call, what I'm saying is, you can have 3 or 4 marketing campaigns happening at the one time. Most definitely. But if you are targeting a group of people through a Facebook group or through an ad campaign, target that one group on 1 topic or 2 topics at the most, not on all 5 marketing strategies that you've got going, because then there's a disconnect. They're confused. Like, for example, if I could use Tina, let's say she's got healthy hacks. She's got what the hell are you eating? What the F are you eating? And then she's got the supermarket tour that's happening. There's 3 different things, slightly different audiences, and if I'm getting all 3, then I'm kind of confused as what is it that I need to buy first. So it's a bit like, do I get this or this? And then the more I think about it, I'm like, maybe this one or maybe that one, and I can drop off the bandwagon because I'm currently, there's too much going on, too much thinking, too many decisions I need to make around one topic. Whereas if Tina only had 1 thing, then either it's a yes, a no, or a maybe, and then Tina needs to follow through, if that makes sense. So you can have 5 or 6, most definitely, but in terms of the target audience, 1 or 2 at the most at any given time. So when one campaign finishes, all good, you can go to the next, but just don't have all 5 in front of them. Okay, beautiful. Anything else, Tina, that I can support you on before I send you some strategies tomorrow?
No, I don't think so. I think I've just got to sit down and work out like a video series, and then I guess I've already got strategy, I'm just not doing them very well. So I guess putting them into a sequence and figuring out how I'm going to present them and when I'm going to run them and how, like you said, like run them together. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So my suggestion would be is, in that case, your goal for 31 December. So if you were to do that and to achieve that, which you will, you need to then go, what segment am I going to run in the next 3 months? I reckon that needs to be your question. What segment? And then from that, what are the 2 strategies? The next segment, what are the 2 strategies? So then essentially over a 6-month period, you've got 4 strategies going.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so you don't have a lot going on, but you have enough to give people, this target audience, this custom audience that you're creating, enough, as I say, meat and potatoes for them to go, oh, I'm getting so much out of this. Like, if I'm getting this much out of this, what would it be like to be in front of Tina in her space, whether that's offline or in the shed or at one of her workshops or her retreats? Does that make sense?
Yeah. So if I was to run, say, the video series and then ran like a promo for In the Shed at the same time, would that work?
Yeah, because the people coming to the shed are local. Yeah, they're local.
Yeah.
So it's you know, they're going to be maximum driving. Worst case scenario, I mean, if you were to take a look at your audience, they're probably driving no more than 15 or 18 minutes to get to the shed. So they're pretty much City of Casey people. But with your online series, you can impact whole of Melbourne, and then from there, depending on how they're engaging, let's pretend you did a segment that went for 6 weeks, and at the end of the 6 weeks, you sold them something online. You would not try to convert them into coming into the shed, because there would be a disconnect. Yeah, because they're online. They could be anywhere. You don't know that. And it doesn't matter, because your segment from there would be where you become somebody that is coaching them through another program that is online.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless the only time you would pitch them sessions in the shed would be if they say, where are you based in? I would love to work with you one-on-one, you know, in a group or whatever it is. Then you'd say, well, yeah, I'm based in Narre Warren. But otherwise it wouldn't matter, because you're just going to keep feeding them online.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a bit like this group. You know, all of you, I'm assuming, are in Melbourne. But imagine if I tried to get you all to come to me in Cranbourne or Narre Warren. It would be just too chaotic. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Whereas it's so much easier to get you guys just on the live call. It just works for everybody, and it works for me, because I get to sit at my table, you know, and it's still happening. So so think about that. So the shed people, City of Casey, they work on a different strategy, and the guys on the call, they work on a completely different strategy, and then you've got to work out how you're going to balance the two.
Okay. Yep. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. All right. From Tina, we are going to switch to Angela next on the call. Angela, if you want to unmute yourself. And after Angela, we're going to UM. So, yep. Is Angela ready to go? Hey,
hi,
Angela.
Sam.
How are you?
Thanks.
That's good. Great to have you on the call. Just want to check in. Did you have time to watch the replay of the video that I sent you via email?
I did get a chance to watch it. I've basically just been more or less contemplating on the points that were raised from that. And just trying to replan and restructure everything that I want to do moving forward, I guess.
Okay.
So just really in that planning phase at the moment.
All right, beautiful. So because you were not on the live call, and I don't think anyone knows what you do, did you want to quickly take maybe 30 seconds, Angela, to tell us what you do, so we kind of, everyone on the call kind of knows, you know, a little bit more about you?
Okay. Basically right now, I'm a mobile massage therapist.
Yep.
And I'm within the next month or so, I'm looking at actually growing that into opening my own clinic.
Yep.
And then offering massage services, but then collaborating with a couple of other people that I've been developing relationships with to offer multiple services, I guess, or different modalities.
Yep.
The big picture end goal is to operate a wellness center.
Yep.
Yeah. So myself doing the massage, my husband is actually the life coach.
Okay.
And so with the business name, we've incorporated mind, body, and soul.
Yep.
So the holistic approach to health, I guess.
Yep. Okay. And you're in the City of Casey, aren't you, Angela?
Yes.
Yep. Okay, cool. Because there's quite a few of you in the city of Casey on the call, and it's quite interesting because I'm hearing things and I'm picking up that there could be a lot of collaborations, but that's just my mind going ding, 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 ding. Okay, so that's the goal. Where are you at? Because I know you are time poor. You mentioned that in the email, and I suggested a few things to you. Where are you at in terms of social media? So let's your audience is definitely on Facebook, most definitely.
Yes.
No question about that. Where are you at in terms of your social media presence, and what is challenging you the most that I can actually send you something in the next 24 hours to help you clear that? So where are you at with Facebook and your presence online?
There is a presence online, but it's not a great presence.
Yep.
More or less, I've haven't given it the attention and the detail that it requires in order to build it to what it needs to be. So yes, I have Facebook. Yes, I have Instagram and on Twitter, but I'm not. I don't have anything on YouTube. It's not functioning as well as I would like it to, and which is one of the reasons why I joined the group, and was to get better at doing that.
All right, so do you want me to then sorry, I know we're on the call, but I'm just gonna look you up on Facebook, Angela, just quickly. I just want to make just bear with me, ladies. I just want to check something. So okay, so the first thing I notice is when I go and check your profile, so you've got Essential Health, Mind, Body and Soul. That's the business page that you're talking about. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, so let's have a look. Okay, so all right. So let's look at the content. 29th of May, 28th. Okay, so you are definitely posting. There's definitely content coming on there. It just needs a bit of structure.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Okay. All right. So I'll put that in there because I'll go through your business page and I will give you some structured tips that you can follow through, because you're definitely very active on there. Like there's consistency in terms of content, but you want to, I think, create a level of awareness specifically about what it is that you do. So if I was to land on your page, I can relate to it somewhat quickly, rather than me having to browse too much and read and click on links kind of thing. So let's put that in there. Structure for content. And I'm assuming, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming you just kind of just post when you're on the go, like something's happening, you're going to post it and then kind of let it be. You're not really thinking long term when you are posting in terms of a strategy. Is that correct?
I haven't been.
Okay, cool. So let's look at strategy for posting content. Okay, that's fine. So I've taken note of that. I will give you some bullet points that you can execute over the next week. So there's Wednesday by next Tuesday, where you can start planning. You don't have to actually do it straight away, but start the planning process to see how you can actually use it strategically, working in your favor, to make sure that, you know, your message is very clear. And look, you know, yes, you're trying to drive it into a wellness center where you cover all aspects from a holistic approach. Great. But for right here, right now, when I connect with you online and I am sussing you out on Facebook, I want to see that approach around massage and how you're articulating that story, because that's what's going to convert me to going, oh, yeah, I'm going to give them a call and see whether I can get an appointment kind of thing. Does that make sense? Because currently, if you build that up consistently and then you add, it's going to be, oh, wow, they are the one-stop shop, or they have a lot of offerings in terms of overall health and well-being. So you kind of need to start with one thing and then build it up.
Yep.
Yeah? Okay, beautiful. So I will give you some tips. In the next 24 hours, you get an email from me. We are now going to go across to M, and then lucky last will be Ingrid. So M, if you want to unmute yourself, let's check in to see how you are tracking. Hello.
Hi, how you going?
Good. How are you?
Good. I must say, after I watched the first live, like the video, I was massively overwhelmed.
Yeah. Okay.
So I take in that's what I do. I take in every little bit of information, and then I have to go, what do I do? But then I got your email and I went, it's a bit of zen. So I did actually, like, it really made me think about, because I put a lot of content out there and I get all that, right? Yeah. But I've got to have a presence. But wasn't very consistent. It's consistent with what I do.
Yep.
But there was no kind of plan to it in terms of topics. So I had to make some hardline calls about what I was willing to produce.
Yep.
So can I let you know what I've decided? You can just tell me that's okay.
Yeah.
You say yes or no. We'll go with that.
We want to hear it. Yeah, definitely.
So I've actually started doing a podcast once a week, but what I realised is that's actually going to be too much, because I've got to create the content and the lead time, and if I want to work one-on-one with clients and all that kind of stuff, I've got to have the time to, I just don't want to type, because I'm a writer, I don't want to just bang out anything. I actually wants to be organic and really authentic to me. Yeah. So I'm going to do that twice a month, and then from those I'm going to have 2 weeks of the same kind of content, but different little bits in there. So I broke down my marketing plan, social media, into days. So when I'm looking at Facebook, I know on a Wednesday you'll either get from me, and I'm going to repurpose my podcast for all of it. So I'll create lots of Canva images out of it. I'm also on the Wednesday, on 1 week you'll get the podcast, and on the next week I'm going to create a video based on the same podcast, but just in video form. So I guess my thought is, if people don't want to listen to a podcast, they might actually want to watch something. So they can still get the same thing, but just watching it, or they might want to share it with a friend or whatever it is. So, and also that's something for me to put on my YouTube channel as well.
Exactly.
And so then on Thursdays, I'm actually going to create it made me think, when you're talking to everyone else, what kind of series, and something that's really authentic to me is calling bullshit. I have.
I love it. I love the bullshit word.
So my hashtag is calling BS. And I'm actually going to start to, instead of doing a live with that on Thursday, I'm going to create a small 5 to 10 minute video, which I can upload to my YouTube channel. It'll be under that series tag of calling bullshit. So that over the 2 weeks, you'll get 2 of those from me. So it'll just be a different, so it's what you're talking about, disrupting what's, being a bit disruptive. And that's what I like about that, because I am being disruptive. It's a different line of thinking. And that way I can repurpose it and share it onto Facebook, and also share it onto YouTube as well.
Beautiful.
So I've got a plan for everything, and then on Fridays I'll do like a weekly wind up plus some posting in between. And I know, being that I'm going to stick to the one topic for 2 weeks, so 2 topics a month, it means that I can also find other articles and have the time to kind of do a bit more research, so that I can share articles and do what you were talking about, by not just having my content, but also having other people's as well.
Okay. Beautiful.
And okay, that's it. And also, whilst I've been listening to everybody else, realised that I can actually create a Zoom event. I was starting to think I need to do a workshop. But I'm going to, thanks Angela, you're a gem. But what I'm also going to do is create a Zoom event about communicating to be heard. And I've started to break that down into the three topics as well. So that's something that I can develop. I don't know how that works. I don't know how Zoom events work. I've got no effing idea what I'm saying right now, but it sounds really good. And I'm just going to go, that's going to be part of my plan. Like, I'm putting it in there.
Okay, cool.
Because does that make all sense? And then I realised that I can repurpose all of this over the couple of weeks to go into LinkedIn, daily, just, little posts on Instagram as well, either like little videos, as you've said, or like my Canva images that I'm creating.
Yep.
Total win. I had one of my Canva images shared on Instagram. She took out my details, but I didn't really care because I'm like, that's my thought. Like, that's from my brain and heart. Yeah. And she's shared that. I was like, perfect. So I actually thanked her for sharing. I didn't like, oh, where's my details or anything like that. I thought that's not cool. So I literally went, oh my God, thanks so much for sharing. Like, I'm so grateful that it landed with you. Yeah. That's beautiful. Yeah. And then left it at that. So I'm getting actually a lot more from her. Yeah. And then I've got to read it. You've also made me think I've got to start uploading this. So the calling bullshit videos, I can then start putting them on my website so that there's something for them to click on.
Yep.
And also adding my podcast as well.
Yep, perfect. Okay, so you've got 3 very strategically segmented things that are happening. So the calling bullshit, the Zoom event, and then your podcast, not normal podcast, the podcast.
Yeah, which again, I'll turn it into a video for YouTube. So if people aren't looking at SoundCloud, they can actually go onto my YouTube channel and I can share it that way and be,
okay,
a bit more strategic around it and use it in different ways.
Yep, perfect. So now I have got a question for you because I know your end goal, which was the 10 attendees to the Deeper Love Formula by December.
Yep.
So my question to you, which I kind of really need you to ponder over the next 7 days, which will be in an email anyway. So if you go, oh my God, just challenge me again.
I love it.
How are these 3 directly or indirectly feeding into the Deeper Love Formula? What is your tie-in? If that makes sense. So if your end is, I'm always about food, so I'm just going to use food as the example. So if you're talking about capsicums and potatoes, can capsicums and potatoes end up on a pizza? Does that make sense? How are these 3 going to tie in one way or the other and come back to that? Because at the end of the day, your core business or your high ticket item that will make your profits really soar and really step up on another level come 2018 is for you to have 10 people consistently attending the Deeper Love Formula. So whatever it is that you're talking online and being disruptive and feeding and really building a hype, how does that strategically tie in to the Deeper Love Formula? You need to think about that.
Yes.
So it's not just talking on because what I'm trying to say is, like, for example, when I'm doing a presentation, depending on the audience, if I'm in a corporate environment, I will only talk about my bricks and mortar consulting clients, okay? Because there's a direct connection there. Whereas if I'm talking to mums in business, sole traders, solopreneurs, I'm going to talk about, you guys that are on the call, about how we run this marketing challenge and what comes up and the conversations we have, because it's relatable. Because then from there, if I'm to upsell them a $150 Facebook workshop, it makes sense. It's not a high ticket item. I'm not saying buy something for $5,000. Does that make sense? So you kind of need to go, if I'm going to be talking about calling out the bullshit, how is that showing up in your communication, in your love languages, whatever it is that you're talking about, and keep, I suppose, strategically throwing the one-liners. One of the things we've found a lot is when I work with clients through my workshop, the Deeper Love Formula, is this, and this. So you're constantly, my mind is constantly thinking the Deeper Love Formula. Do you know what I mean? It's like emotionally and psychologically, I know that's what it is. Yeah.
So that was my question to you, was that I've started to recognize that I wasn't doing that because I thought, oh, is that like a bit inauthentic? And then I called myself on my own bullshit and went, actually, it's kind of inauthentic for me not to, because I want people to know what I know and I want people to work with me. So I have started doing that. And, you know, and that, because I was already thinking that and that was one of my questions that I was going to ask you.
Read your mind.
What is that? Okay, so I've got this plan now. Woohoo! And I'm going to work it because I'm going to work my ass off in it. However, how do I feed that into the Deeper Love formula? And I'm more than happy to do that. And I've started doing it in my podcast. Like I've started referring to, look, I can't go a bit deeper right now because actually it's something that I need to spend more time with you, and we do it in here. So that's okay. That's good to do. So I can do that.
Yeah.
And that's how those are feeding back into my Deeper Love formula. Is that right?
Yeah, because whatever you talk about, okay, it has to feed in somewhere.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, it has to feed in somewhere. There is no marketing strategy that says I'm just gonna keep producing content with no big picture. Do you know what I mean? It's like jumping in the car and going, well, I'm gonna go get a pizza. Where the hell are you gonna go get the pizza from? Like there's freaking 10 pizza shops.
Drive around for hours.
Do you know what I mean? There needs to be some sort of direction, you know?
Yes.
So what I'm saying to you is you have got 6 months, because we're not yet in July. So
yes,
over the next 2 and a bit weeks, you know, this group is going to stay open. So my suggestion to you is look at how is calling out bullshit, and the podcast are slowly throwing in the one-liners of the Deep Love formula. And how can the Zoom, you know, communicating to be heard, how can that be the lead in to potentially where you can upsell the Deeper Love formula on that Zoom call? Or
that's totally easy. I can answer that right now. Can I answer it?
Yeah.
So, because communicating to be heard actually comes out of, I have a very unique way of helping people communicate from their best place, because I personally don't believe in NLP. I personally believe it's manipulative. I don't believe in communicating at people. So if they're visual, communicate with them that way. I don't believe in that. To me, that is manipulative, and I'm not okay with it. For me, do what you like with everyone else. So what I've actually done is figured out a unique way so that people can communicate from their best place. And it's still based on that same visual, auditory, kinesthetic, but it helps people communicate from an authentic place where they can be heard. And every single client that's ever done it with me comes out. So I would then lead in with that to say, if you want to know your best communication, it's actually part of my 2-day course. And the reason I don't do it as an individual thing is because I help people learn new habits through the 2 days, how they can communicate better. And it takes 2 days for people to go, oh, okay, I can do it that way now. Does that make sense? So I think communicating to be heard, I can do 3 simple topics, but then keep tying it back into, if you want an individual process with this, then let's do the Deeper Love formula together. Spend 2 days with me, and we'll do some pre-work together. It's actually part of it.
Okay, perfect. All right, so you've got that down pat. So then really your focus needs to be on your other 2, which is the podcast and the calling out bullshit, where you strategically throw that in and get that into the mix. So I will formulate this into like some bullet points, and then if you have any questions, make sure you just come back and ask me what it is.
I will.
Yeah, cool. All right, so we're going to swap to Ingrid now. Ingrid, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yay, you're
Can
there.
You hear me?
Yes. All right, beautiful. Did you have a chance, Ingrid, to watch the replay, the video I sent?
I did. I watched it that evening.
Oh, beautiful. How are you tracking with social media? I noticed that you're a lot more social on social media. I'm seeing your images popping up, so that's a good thing. How are you tracking? What have you thought about after listening to the recording?
Well, because I'd already met with you and we've already formulated some of the stuff that I need to do. You've given me a list of stuff that I need to work on. My only question for you today is because I do photograph so many different genres, if I keep popping up different things, like it's a Sunday morning this time and next time it's a fantasy shoot and all of a sudden I'm showing in headshots, is that going to confuse people?
Okay, so that's a really, really great question for quite a few of the people on the call, because they do feed different target audiences, different outcomes, all that. You know, Tina has probably 2 or 3 different target audiences. Em does the same thing, you know, with Angela, you know, where she's trying to reach over the next few months, you know, again, multiple. So my suggestion for you would be is with your fantasy and boudoir to really talk about what it does to the individual. Yeah, so really talking about, you know, the series that I sent to you when we caught up, I think one-on-one about 3 weeks ago, is you'll need to strategically work out how you're going to position what. So let's say you picked fantasy and boudoir, that would be a segmented video series where you talk about how women feel before and after, and you take them through that. And that would happen probably over maybe 3 weeks, where you'd have, you know, 2 videos over 3 weeks. And then you'd kind of talk about, you know, something else that is a little bit, what do you call, middle. And then you'd go into talking about corporate headshots, because remember, your about on Facebook says that you do fantasy art, fantasy boudoir, headshots, and something else. So when I see your business page, I know that you cover 3 different genres. Yeah, I know that you've articulated that, but I think what I don't want to see is where you have a fantasy shoot and then the next one straight after that is a headshot, because it doesn't flow. Like there's a bit of a disconnect. So you kind of need to go either top down, so where you kind of go, okay, fantasy, then something else, and then we talk about, you know, this is great for, you know, you articulating who you are and capturing the essence of you. And for those of you that are in business, and, you know, this is how you position yourself from a business aspect. Because what is to say that the woman that comes to you for a headshot is not going to consider a fantasy shoot? So you
So, because I get them in for a head shoot, they see the studio, they have a look at all the beautiful outfits that are in there, they see all the other images in there, and then I think, oh, I want one of those.
Yeah. Yeah. So I would say you, and I think we covered this in fairly briefly, but I would say to you, the corporate headshots could be more of the images that you're posting and the storytelling. Whereas the boudoir and the fantasy is where I said to you, if you don't want to be on camera, that's okay, but you could have your voice over something that you're doing, talking about that. So it's storytelling. So then when you post it on Facebook, that would be a series, and the headshots would be just images that are popping up, just content. Does that make sense? Yeah. So, but making sure, remember I said to you, making sure your about page, and when they land, they know that you cover all 3 aspects, because that is crucial, so that there's no disconnect.
It's done. I did that already.
Well done. Okay, perfect. Okay, so next is in terms of people that are opting in, how are you following them up? How's that all tracking? Because I know at the last event that you went to Bloom, you had quite a bit of interest, and how are you tracking with those processes?
So what I did was I emailed everybody that had interest in me.
Yep.
We've seen one person already who's interested in the workshop, and we've formulated something else, so we're meeting and throwing ideas around with that. I set up a pre-consult with another one to get them into the studio to show them everything else that I can do, and I've booked a headshot. So
perfect. So that converted really well in terms of one headshot, this and that. It's covered all 3 aspects essentially.
Yes.
Beautiful. Okay, so that might be then, if that network is that, now you kind of know how to really formulate really creative offers and the positioning to keep doing that in that network, because clearly that's a really strong.
I think that the best part of that network was that I was actually able to show what I did.
Yep.
People were able, because I actually had a set up shop in there, so people could actually see all my images.
Yep.
Rather than me just saying I'm a photographer.
Yep, exactly. The touch and feel, the visual aspect is what's converting them. So now you know that. So maybe moving forward, when you're out networking, you even have at least one photo album or something that you can pass around while you're talking.
Okay.
that might be something to consider, because if you're talking and you said, this is what I do, I'd love, to actually show you what it is. I'm just going to stop and let this, pass this around just very quickly for you to have a look. And, if you've got any questions or you're intrigued, I'd love to, have a conversation with you or something like that, because then that would open up that opportunity to connect with them on another level.
Yeah, because it's a different thing saying I do conceptual photo shoots or fantasy art, but they've got no idea what it looks like.
No. Okay, cool. All right. So I've got 2 things that I'm going to highlight to you via email, which I will do in the next 24 hours. Okay.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Beautiful. All right. Have I covered everyone? I just want to check in before I run through something. Have I gone across, I think I have, but let's double check. Yeah, there'll be nothing worse if I haven't. Okay, yeah, I have. All right. So now I just want to, before we wrap up in the next 5 to 8 minutes, I just want to run through something very quickly. Okay. So you're on track. You understand what you need to do on social media to get your message out there, to communicate that, to be a little bit disruptive, to be a little bit creative. And, have consistency, because consistency is key on social media. Absolutely. Nearly every single one of you, every single one of you, I would say, has to be on Facebook. And then Kushil, I suggested you look at LinkedIn as well, because your target audience is there as well in terms of your positioning. And Angela, depending on your hubby's social media profile, he might want to consider being on LinkedIn as well in that space, because it's all about building their profile online. So that's something to consider. And before I go into what I was going to say, are you trying to get into the corporate space to do anything, or you are just happy with the females and also the younger audience? Because I know you're passionate about helping the little, the kids between 10 to 14. Are you trying to get into corporate, or you're not? I can't hear you.
I totally forgot. Yes, I would definitely love to. I know that that's going to require a change in the look and how I market it, because it is quite soft at the moment, and I think for corporate it probably needs to be dirtied up a little bit. So yes, I absolutely would love to get that, and I'm actually looking at the course in how I can break it down to like even a 3-day retreat, so that I can market it to corporates and they can just send their people out to me to work together.
Yep, because what I'm thinking is, if you were to tap into the corporate space, would be very much around communicating to be heard. That could be like a lunchtime lunch and learn segment that you could go into organizations lunchtime and deliver it in 2018, because then your kiddies will be, you can still drop them off, you can still pick them up, and wherever the organization might be, Southeastern or even in the city, lunch and learn is going to wrap up by 1:30, so you'll still make it in time for school pickup.
Yeah, fantastic. I love that. Yeah.
Because it could be like a 45-minute conversation that could happen in either their boardroom or their lunchroom, that you kind of, connect and collaborate with their HR team and that sort of thing. And then if they've got multiple officers, it could be something where you go in every 6 or 8 months and do a bit of a refresher kind of thing, that sort of setup.
Absolutely.
Okay, beautiful. So I'll put that in your notes as well. Okay, so now I want to talk to you about, as I said, before we wrap up, around how you are timing things and being consciously aware of how much time this marketing element is taking up in your life, not in your business, in your life. The reason I say this is, again, I love to be transparent, and I love to tell you when, things didn't work and I was, on the verge of burning out because, I didn't sleep a lot at one stage. And, of course it has paid off, but it's not, something you can sustain long term, which I'm well aware. So what I want to say to you before we wrap up this call is, yes, I'm going to keep supporting you. Yes, I'm going to keep giving you strategies. Yes, I'm going to, I'm going to hold you accountable, and I'm going to be there. However, what I want to really highlight to each of you on the call is, I want you to really look at how much time these marketing strategies are consuming your life. So not when you're in business mode, because a lot of us, we are juggling a parenting role, and quite a few of us have young children. So, you still have to be a wife, a partner, a friend, a sister, a daughter, an aunt, a mom, everything in the mix, cook, clean, juggle it all. The last time I checked, none of us had a robot friend. I mean, if you have a robot friend, just let me know, send them over. I'm all on board, but we don't. So what I'm suggesting is this 80-20 thing that I talk about. And generally this 80-20 formula that I talk about, I only talk about that generally when I'm inside an organization, but I'm about to give you that. So the 80-20 rule, I'm not going to go into it too much because it is a whole topic that can probably go for about an hour. But you will hear about the 80-20 rule more on our wrap-up call next week. But I just want you to I want to plant the seed for you to think. So every single one of you obviously has a goal you want to hit, yeah? And you kind of need to work out how much time delivering that is going to consume you. So meaning, if you say to me, let's because we just finished with Em, let's just look at Em's goal. So she said she wanted 10 people at the Deeper Love formula come December, and then it's staying consistent. Now, for you to get the 10 people, to deliver the program, to do the follow-up, to do the onboarding, whatever else you do, how much physical time does it take? That means printing of books, that means presentations, that means emails, that means whatever else that you do. Now, just to give you context, let's say M needs 10 hours. Let's just say 10 hours. For you to deliver something, it takes 10 hours with the workshop. So the workshop is running for, let's say, 4 hours a day or 5 hours a day. That's 10 hours there plus 10 hours prep. That's 20 hours for X amount of dollars. How is that scalable in the long term? Because you really want to look at a model where you are doing 20% in terms of time and 80% return. So if you are spending 2 hours on marketing, that is feeding in 10 hours of clients. Does that make sense? Everyone's going, oh shit, we're not listening.
I'm totally listening.
Okay,
Sam,
what I'm saying, yeah?
Can I just convert something for you? Just because I don't mind sharing figures, that's okay. I'm quite transparent. So if I'm doing a course, a Deeper Love, and I've got 10 people, let's say I've hit my goal, right? I just want you to, sorry, because I'm a bit hopeless with figures. So if you can quickly convert, because I know you can. So it takes me around 2 hours per person pre-course. So that's 20 hours because I figured this out, 20 to 25 hours. The course in itself is 9 hours a day. So that's 18 hours. So it's around 40 hours, right? But if I've got 10 people there, then effectively that's 9.5K to me.
Yeah. I'm going to work this out on my formula because you've gone, whoa.
I've worked this out, but I don't know how to figure. But I'm actually like, I'm okay with that kind of return, to be honest. Like, to me, that seems like that's actually a good value. But then I haven't added the marketing in. So then on top of that would be, like if I'm doing 2 hours a week and I'm holding it every 2 weeks. 2, 4, 6. So that's like another, what's that, 8 hours on top of that to get the 10 people there, give or take. So that's 50 hours I've had to spend to earn 9.5K.
It's not bad, but it's not sustainable long term. Unless,
no. But then, keep going.
Unless if you look at the long term of what you're doing, could you consider maybe 2 years or 2.5 years into the future, could you have the Deeper Love formula as something that's a license model where you're just a facilitator and people buy the licensing off you and you just become the mentor, the coach to them, and they deliver it, and you have a monthly retainer coming into your business. So you're not actually doing this. You're just mentoring and helping the facilitators deliver it. It's a bit like, for those of you that have heard Dr. John Demartini, his model, like he facilitates the breakthrough experience, but he's got people that have done the breakthrough experience and then buy the licensing. I think it's like $1,500 for the year, and they maintain that and they can go deliver the breakthrough experience in their own local states and whatever and make money. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I probably would put that into my 5-year plan because I'd probably want to hone it in a lot. I mean, the information's amazing, but I'd probably want to clean it up and hone it in a lot more. So, but in saying that, then I could essentially create a video series, which is a buy-in. So once people have completed the course or have it separate too, that they could, so like a 15-minute, 16 parts, 15-minute video series, which is related to it, but people can buy into it that way.
Yes.
Can that work?
Yeah, so that would work. The reason is I still think if you're working, what I would suggest to each of you, because I'm going to break this up for you on paper and send it, because I don't have the formula in front of me, so I don't want to just throw numbers at you because it's probably going to be inaccurate, and I don't want to do that. What I would suggest to each and every one of you is work out how much you believe you are worth an hourly rate. I know, you don't want to kind of go, well, I'm worth this much, but how much are you worth an hour? When I first started, I just wanted to replace my corporate income of what I was worth an hour, and that was, $32.50. So in my head, anything more than $32.50 an hour, I was like, sweet, I'm on a roll. But what I do now is on a whole other scale. So I need to have that level of respect to what it is that I do. So what I'm saying to you is work out your hourly rate. Every single one of you across the board on this call, every single one of you listening, work out your hourly rate. From there, the 80-20 rule applies. The reason the 80-20 rule applies is because on a bigger scale, when you want to play at a higher level, you want to only work at 20%, 20% where you're like the mouse on the wheel, and that turns in 80%, if that makes sense. So you're working 20, you're bringing in 80. You're working 20, you're bringing in 80. Currently, every single one of you are probably working 50-50, and I want to change that over the next 6 to 8 months. It is not a quick change. I have had multiple coaches, and it probably only changed for me personally. And I'm still not, I wouldn't say I'm right on 80%, 80-20 across all the things I do. I'm on 80-20 across 3 things, and there's still one thing that I'm probably working on, 40-60, because that's the publishing side. To be upfront and honest, that's the publishing side, because that is quite new. That side of the business is very new, so it takes a lot more of my time, where it's not running on autopilot like I would want to, whereas other things run on autopilot because things are formulated. So, 5 years in business, there are still things that I'm doing to get better and better, but what I'm suggesting to each of you is look at how you can start thinking that way and go, I work 20, I make 80. I work 20, I make 80. I'm going to go through the process from a marketing aspect on next week's call, because that's when we wrap up this segment. I will give you, I wouldn't give you the whole formula because it's quite complex. There's a lot of Excel lines going backwards and forwards to really formulate it. But I'm going to take you through the process where I will pick maybe your top seller and your low seller, and look at if you were selling the low ticket item at, let's say, $30 and your top ticket item was $6,000, what would you want to be pushing more? Just to give you context, one of the things I do in my business is I go on site and I sit with an organization for the full day. So from 10 to 4, I spend on site and I'm with them. Now, because it's just me doing that and I don't have people that do that, I in a month can only do that 6 times, because I do other stuff. I run these online things. I've got coaching clients. I've got workshops. So I can only do 6. So what I'm getting you to think is that is capped. That is not unlimited. You want to have a model where something is unlimited, where it is not restricted to 10 participants, 20 participants, 30 participants. It's like when you run a webinar, you can have up to 100 people, as opposed to maybe on a Skype training call, you could only have about 6 or 7, where it starts getting a bit fuzzy. So you're restricted. So what I'm saying to you is the 80-20 is designed to give you freedom on capacity. So you can only have 10 people signing up to that program, or 20 people. It doesn't matter, but you have a higher return on investment without you doing the work, because you're only doing 20% to make 80%. Does that make sense? So I will break that down next week. Okay, I'm not, as I said, if I give you too much today, you're probably going to go, what the hell is this woman on about? Because it is quite a complex. And generally this 80-20 thing we look at takes about an hour and a half when I'm with the business, to really look at how we can formulate what what should we be pushing more of and what should we taking back off. And was it last year or the year before, I scrapped one of my best programs just because the 80-20, and you know, a lot of people were like, what the hell, why would you do that? Like, that was bringing in, you know, that was bringing in a big part of my income. But on the long term, it was not sustainable for me because I was working at probably 50% capacity to deliver that. And it was just not working out for me. So, you know, sometimes people don't realize why people scrap programs or update programs or change the delivery model. And generally, it's when something like that comes into play and you have the reality of going, oh, you know, this is what it is. And that's why to some of my clients that are in the coaching space, I say, if you're purely trying to run a coaching business, you need to get your clients onto a membership site, or you need to have them on a retainer in a closed Facebook group, because your time is capped and you can only have so many coaching clients in a month, because, you know, we all have 24 hours a day. So you still have to sleep, you have to eat, you have to drink, you have to be whoever you have to be. So your income is going to be capped. And the only way you can take the cap off is if you go onto the 80-20 rule. And that is what I want each of you to achieve over the next, you know, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. It's not an overnight thing, because you kind of really need to revisit your marketing model, but also your business model. And that's what I highlighted a little bit yesterday when I was on that live stream, where I said, it's like if you were in your house and you had 5 cars parked, you know, which car would you take to go where? So you've got to think, you know, where would I drive this car? Where would I not take this car? Where would I take this kind of thing? So I'm going to cover that next week. I'm going to wrap up this call right now. If you've got any questions, again, I really want to encourage you to post it in the group, do a live video, do a video, post it on there. If it is something very personal around pricing and structure that you kind of go, I'm really not sure, I'm not quite comfortable, that's okay. Just send me a personal message and I'll get back to you. I will be a little bit offline this evening, so if I don't respond to you, just bear with me. I've got a speaking engagement in the evening, so I will be a little bit offline, but I'll be back on board tomorrow, and you should have your emails sometime in the next 24 hours straight to your inbox. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you for now. Have a fabulous day. Take care, and please remember, you've got unlimited support via email and the closed Facebook group. We are live again next Wednesday, 12:30. So that's the 14th of June. And this group will stay open. So I'm not going anywhere after the 14th of June. So still there. So yeah, I'll be there. And yeah, just keep those questions coming and please take action. It is absolutely crucial that you take action. Yeah. All right, I will leave you all. I will see you all very soon. Have a fabulous day, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.
Okay.
Bye. Bye. Bye.